This is the instructional how-to video for the Zachary Myler trailer. This is going to show the startup and shutdown procedures of your brand new concession. We'll start off up front. We have your access door open with the power cord coming out of the trailer itself, plugged into our shore power. We've got a freshwater tank here. You can see the level of fresh water for the testing purposes. That way we can show the hot water system working itself. There is a separate video that's going to show the winterization, which once this video is over, we're going to go ahead and winterize the trailer due to the unknown weather conditions in our area as well as yours. You got water pump plug and you got water heater plug. We got to make sure that obviously this is unplugged when there's no water in the system, as it will burn up the element for your water heater. Also, door holder located here. We've got your city water fill box itself. This is for filling the freshwater tank and running the water pump. Or you can bypass the tank and pump and use the pressurized water line here. Just a food grade water hose, 3/4 inch standard hose. Again, non-pressure side on the left, pressurized side on the right. If you're going to run the pressurized side, make sure to unplug the water pump, as it is not needed. If you want to move this flap out of the way and be able to lock the door up so nobody can tamper with the water connection on this side, you can do so through that. Again, door holder, that way the spring door can open and close. LED lights on. Concession window open. As far as your flip up counter, use this middle screw here as a reference point for lifting the counter up in place. When you're ready to leave, you can press back upward. Sorry, it's hard holding the camera and doing that at the same time, but I'll be able to show you in person. Again, we've got your power cord plugged into our shore power itself. Both of your propane tanks are empty. I do have a live tank for demonstration purposes. So before I go over turn on the gas system, I do want to go over, you've got your gas piping that runs underneath the trailer itself. And road debris can damage this line. So it's very critical that once we activate this tank, pressurizing this line, in the same tank that you have on your trailer, you want to make sure that when you open this valve, you listen for any gas coming through here. There should be a split-second burst of pressure for pressurizing the line. At that point, you should hear no more gas coming through that line. And again, a split second, it's on, it's good to go. If you hear a rapid amount of gas coming through here, you always want to make sure you turn this off. Have a gas company come out and inspect the piping itself. Again, because it does run under the trailer, road debris can break the pipe when traveling down the road. As far as your waste drain valve itself, you have a 3/4 inch connection here or 3-inch connection, as you see here. If you use the 3-inch connection, just hook your hose. It's a simple RV hose, and pull the gate valve out of the way for the water to be able to flow out. Once finished, do shut that valve back up and put the cap back into place. We mopped the floors at the very end, so excuse the dirty floor itself. We've had a rapid amount of rain for the past few days. So we have your fire suppression system here, control head by the exit door. This system is live and armed. If we pulled this pin and swung that lever to the side, everything that is in the red tank would dump all over your equipment and make a very, very big mess. Do make sure that when you get back to your local state, your fire marshal and local fire suppression company will come out and do their testing and tag and certify the system for proper use. We do have 12-volt light itself. When hooked up to the truck, you'll be able to come back in and have some ample light to be able to see if you need to get anything out of the way. Got your hood switch here, and then interior and exterior light switches here. I do want to go ahead and go over the plugs real quick, showing the operation of them. Behind the concession window, plug here. And this is the plug below the microwave shelf. And we have the plug above the microwave shelf. Sorry about that. And then we've got the plug for the fridge. Fridge is sitting at 33 degrees. Your power button is located here. All packaging in its original place. Manual for the fridge itself. We want to go ahead and show your countertop going down to the window. You have your upper shelving, 2-inch lip, and then your microwave shelf. Driver's side rear of the trailer, we have the Arctic Air freezer sitting at -3 degrees. Power button for it located here. Paperwork for the deep fryers with their legs, and the drain tube also. As you can see here, the drain tubes for draining the oil itself before transport, and then your paperwork for the griddle and the freezer itself, and the keys. Plug here right next to the freezer. Fire suppression tank above. Countertop. This is the control head for the fire suppression system. No one other than a licensed fire suppression company or personnel would need to tamper with this. This valve is what shuts the gas off in case the system was to fire off. We got your two 50-pound deep fryers here. Again, fire suppression above. We have your Royal 36-inch griddle, countertop, gas valve. Every appliance has its own gas valve, or both your fryers and then your griddle. You can independently shut them off. Plug here, right next to the exit door. Your filters are removable and will need to be cleaned quite often, depending on how much these deep fryers are used and how much grease is in the air. Simply remove the filters out of the way, and with a hot water or mild degreaser, you can clean and rinse these out. Make sure that you leave ample time for them to air dry before going back into service. You always need to run the hood system with the filters in place as close together as possible. As you can see, there will be a gap, minor gap here, but you don't want anything like this, as grease will go through past the filters up into the exhaust fan area itself. There'll be a potential for a fire. These heat sensors here are for the equipment. Nobody needs to tamper with those other than a licensed company with fire suppression. Plan on quarterly visits for having the hood fan inspected and cleaned and serviced. You've got your drip tray here, so what grease doesn't collect in the filters will run down to this drip tray, and the cup that's behind this packaging that hooks on the dial pins here will need to be monitored once a day to make sure that you don't have grease that overflows. Before you ever turn the propane on, we always ask that you turn the hood system on for safety. So we will activate the tank itself. Because of the testing we've already done, we know that all of the equipment is in the off position. I would always recommend that before you come out and turn the gas on, that you know that your grill is off and both of your deep fryers are off. If in the off position, you should be able to turn this on. Again, listening for any gas, it will charge the line. It's a split-second charge. As long as you don't have gas rushing through this regulator, you're good to go. Again, if there was a rapid amount of gas coming through, we would turn this valve off and have someone come out and inspect this line if all the equipment is in the off position. There would be the potential for this line being broken because of something while driving down the road was hitting the pipe and damaged it. Again, no gas is coming through, no excessive smell of gas, no rapid amount of gas running. We're only running one tank at a time. No reason to run two tanks on this system. Just plan on when you're lighting your equipment, it's easier to go ahead and sit down pretty much. You'll use a lighter like this. Never force like these, so these always stay in the off position. Below the griddle, at the end of the flexible style hose, is your pilot lights that are emitting just enough gas for you to be able to light them as you see here instructed in this video. All you have to do is get the flame near this. Propane is heavier than natural gas, so propane is naturally going to fall. So if you have the lighter here, it's going to light with that gas coming down. Now once you have your pilot lights lit, whenever you're ready for operation, you can turn the burners on for being able to fully operate the system itself. And then you have your grease cup or grease catch pan for any trash that is called from in here that would dump in this hole here. Once you're done with the griddle, you can turn it off, leave the pilots lit until ready to activate and use again. If it's going to be several hours before you actually turn these on, but the pilots were lit, it's always best to just look under and make sure those pilot lights have not went out from any wind that has come through the trailer or blown them out, as that could be potentially dangerous, if not fatal. Because if that pilot was to be not lit and you open this up, there's a lot of gas that's coming through this system at that point. Now we're going to go over to the first deep fryer. I always like to start off by turning on, off, making sure this thermostat connects with this gas valve. At that point, I'm going to turn to where the L meets the red dot and allows me to push in. I'll have to lay the camera down for just a moment. As I hold this pilot button in place, I've lit the thermopile. I'm going to give it about 10 to 15 seconds for it to get nice and hot. It's going to turn a red-orange color, so to speak. And then I'll slowly release the pilot button. If you release the pilot button too fast and this thermopile goes out, just simply repeat the processes that I just displayed. Again, once you can release that thermopile or release the pilot button, as long as your thermopile is lit, you're good to go ahead and activate and turn on. At this point, you have full control for your thermostat. Once you are finished, do make sure that you turn this deep fryer back to the off position at the end of the day before you leave. The drain tube in your paperwork packet hooks on here, be able to open up and allow you to dump the oil that's in the vat before transportation. Never transport with oil in the vat, as it'll run out all over your floor itself. Again, same thing, same process we just done. This fryer. Holding this pilot button in place, making sure we light the thermopile. Now this cover that you see here right above this is removable. If you remove it for lighting the thermopile, that's fine. Just make sure that you put this back in place to keep the flame and heat inside where the vat area is for its intended purpose. Thermopile is lit. We've been able to release the pilot button. We can turn to the on position. As long as we have fire, we are good to go. Again, once we're done, we do want to make sure we turn that back to the off position. Always carry a couple of these lighters as spares. I do want to go ahead and turn the gas back off so we can go over the remaining portion of the trailer. Always want to make sure I turn the gas valve off and then turn the tank off. At that point, there's no more gas coming into the trailer. That way we can turn off the hood system. Again, we always recommend turning the hood system on because propane is heavier than natural gas. So if there was something open, the propane is going to fill the whole floor area and then rise, and it could be potentially fatal if somebody wasn't paying attention, and especially if you have the concession window closed and the door closed. We'll go ahead and turn the heat on the heater itself. Now I've got this vent closed off. I've got all the side, front closed off. You're going to have more heat coming out of the rear section because the heat element is back here. We'll give that just a moment to heat up. I've had the water heater plugged in for maybe 20-25 minutes now. Looks like we're 130 degrees. I've already fogged up the camera. Sorry about that. See 131, so plenty hot water. Plenty of hot water. So right now we're sitting at 78 degrees. 68, I'm sorry. Again, I just turned the unit on. It will warm up mid 70s, but of course your main heat is going to be more from this equipment. With the hood system on itself, it's going to take any heat out of the hood system. Same thing with the AC. You can get it nice and cool in here. It's primarily used for prep and cleanup. When you're finished at the end of the day, you do want to make sure you turn that off. You do not want your electric draw when you turn the system on itself. Also, if you want to turn the freezer off, which we're at -9 now, you can do so through here. Fridge across from it, you can turn that switch off itself. Anything that you do not want drawing electricity wise when you plug in your trailer to either a generator or your shore power, you want to make sure you turn that off. Also, your manual opening roof vent, you do want to make sure that is good and closed. If it is like this, opened up, crosswind can damage, if not break, the roof vent, which you would have to replace the whole mechanism itself. Very time intensive. We'll go ahead and turn off the electricity itself to the lights because the LED lights are sensitive. You can burn the ballast up if you do not turn the switches off when plugging in. You want to make sure that that door is properly shut, and again, waste drain cap put back in place. Your power cord would come back into the lower V-nose area If you wanted to do so, you can go ahead and plug in or unplug your electric itself for your water heater and water pump. Again, your propane itself always needs to be in the off position when your business is closed or in transport. That is for both tanks and the shutoff valves themselves. Always make sure that both your tail lights, brake lights, turn signals, and running lights are always in the working position. Always make sure that tire pressure and lug nuts are good. Also, once a year, and if you want to do so twice a year, this cap can be removed for greasing the bearings itself. Simple grease gun, tube of grease, saves you a lot of money in the long run because once those bearings go bad from lack of grease, it is very costly and time intensive. Again, flip up counter, you want to make sure it's in the down position, and closing the concession door before transport. We thank you for taking the time to view this video. We thank you for your business. This video is meant for instructional purposes to keep for a safe condition. The electrical and the propane are very dangerous if not used safely. If you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to reach out to us at any time. We wish you the very best. Thank you.